Hello, everybody. This is Serpent Stinger back again with another reaction. Today, we will be reacting to what weapon should you choose in Wild Hearts from by Further Beyond Gaming. I'm interested in Wild Hearts. I love Monster Hunter games, and while I don't know if I'll pick it up immediately when it drops, I am planning to eventually pick it up and stream it. So I figured we'd react to more content about Wild Hearts. We have a few more videos that I'm planning on recording as well, all in this session. But let's get right into this one.
Of course, there are many things to be excited about when it comes to Wild Hearts, the game that's going to be releasing on February 17th. Now, we have kimonos, which are absolutely fantastic. We went over them in my last video. If you haven't seen it, go ahead and check it out. I'll leave it linked at
I might wind up checking that out. Kimonos. I believe he means, if I remember correctly, that's the monsters, right?
the end of this video. There's also katakuri that you can go ahead and build while you're in the
Those are
hunt.
the
In the middle of the hunt, you can build them.
yeah,
But
the
what I wanted to go ahead and
Fortnite
discuss
building.
today are the weapons. Now, unfortunately, we can't discuss the armor because they don't have it on the official website, and I don't see it on their official Twitter page, which we're going to be visiting here in just a moment. But
Okay.
they do have the weapons. Now, they don't have details of what the weapons do and a brief description on them. So, once again, we're going to go ahead and visit their official Twitter page to get more of a background on some of them. But I thought this would be a great
Okay.
time to do an overview on these weapons, discuss them, and I do want to see in the comments down.
That big katana looks freaking cool. That That looks cool. It's like if you mixed a katana with Cloud's sword from Final Fantasy. Also, this guy's just running around with a giant cannon.
On these weapons, discuss them, and I do want to see in the comments down below which ones are you most excited for. I have to say right off the bat, for me personally, I'm excited about the katana, of
Tim
course,
World Gone
the
Wild.
maul, and the nodachi. But with
Okay, so I haven't seen everything, so I am very interested in seeing what we got here. So we got a Nodachi, which I was the thing I was calling a katana. We have the bladed umbrella, which I've seen. We have a cannon, which we've seen a bit of. We have a maul. I was a hammer main in Monster Hunter, so we'll see. I'm very interested in trying something that's not hammer out, but I will be saying hammer is near and dear to my heart. So the fact that they have one is very interesting. This is the Karakuri staff. If I remember correctly, I saw this. This is the one that turns into like the big paper mache giant sword, right?
we'll go through all of them here in just a second.
Okay, so we also the other three we have is a claw blade. I haven't seen that at all in any of the gameplay I've reacted to, or well, I haven't seen anything about this game that I haven't put as a reaction channel. So, we have a bow. I also played a lot of bow in Monster Hunter games, and then we have the Karakuri katana. This is the katana. Okay.
And I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. My name is Further. I appreciate you being here. We're going to be covering Wild Hearts
The claw blade
extensively,
looks
as you
really
can see
interesting. So does
from what
the
we've been
umbrella.
doing here
Those are the two
recently.
that are
So
jumping
let's go
out to me
ahead
that I
over
want to
these
try.
weapons. At the release of Wild Hearts on February 17th, here are the weapons that we can expect. We have the claw blade, the bow, the karakuri katana, the bladed wagasa,
Umbrella.
cannon, nodachi, maul, and the karakuri staff. Those are the weapons that are going to be out on official release or launch of the game. Now, if we go over to the official Twitter page for Wild Hearts, they have a brief description, a brief
Okay, so what do we got? Slow and measured deals huge damage, performs heavy attacks while running or spinning, perform EI stances offered not perform. I'm reading the top one simultaneously. Different stances offer different play styles. EI, if I remember correctly, is sheathed. If I remember correctly. So I'm guessing that it's a style based, but it's slow and measured. So it's like a mix between Archdemon blades for dual blades. I'm guessing because like that's the only other one that really has like a stance switch. I guess you could also say it's kind of similar to like a Swax, where it's a weapon that probably has some mechanic to be able to switch stances, or it's like hunting arts where you select a stance and you play in that stance during the hunt. But I'm guessing it's going to play a bit more like the Hunter's great sword in Monster Hunter games, except that it's probably more centrifugal force based rather than just I'm going to pick it up and put it down on the monster. Although that one was also centrifugal force based, I'm just expecting this to be a bit more arcing swings than slam downs.
Overview of the weapon and what you can expect from them. Now, once again, they don't have them all here with brief descriptions and background,
That's
unfortunately,
unfortunate.
so we're just going to go over the ones that they have, starting with the Nodachi, which is one that I'm excited for and really looking forward to because I'm a sucker for big swords, gigantic swords. It's just something that I'm always drawn to in any game that I play.
I'm interested. The way that this looks, it looks like if part of the blade is going into this thing. So I wonder if the actual Nodachi in of itself is actually just a sheath as well. Like maybe this it's one giant blade weapon, but it's also a sheath. That'd be interesting.
Okay, so we have the Nodachi here. They stay slow and measured, deals huge damage, perform heavy attacks while running or spinning.
So we saw the
Different
maul
line
and the bow
stances
right
offer
there,
different play styles.
and
And
that's the
once again, this
staff.
harkens back to what I was talking about in the AMA and something that the executive producer Lewis Harvey alluded to when it comes to these weapons is not necessarily that any weapon, any one weapon in particular is going to be stronger than the other per se. It's more because they're all very well balanced. It's more going to be in reference to how you master these weapons, how skillful you are with them, and how well you can perform with whichever weapon that you're deciding to.
Let's be honest, that's not how it's going to wind up going out. I would love it if they were all perfectly balanced, but that's not what's going to happen. There's going to be one weapon that has something that the other weapons can't do, or one weapon that does more things than the others, and mastering that weapon will make it more OP than the rest. Just look at Monster Hunter World and what people did with bows or gun lances.
Choose. And so, with that being said, there's different play styles with the Nodachi, which is
Oh, we
really
did
cool,
see
and I can
this.
expect that to be
This is
probably
the
with a lot of these weapons. Different play styles,
dancing.
stances, and ways to utilize it.
This is the one that's when you're in the air, it reminds me of insect glaive. It's just basically an insect glaive, except you are only in the air, which is basically the insect glaive, but this one seems to be way more in the air than even the insect glaive was.
So let's go ahead and take a look at the next one. We have the Karikuri Katana, midweight weapon.
Okay, so I like the design. Midweight weapon with fast light attacks, high power but vulnerable heavy attacks. Unbound state enhances all attacks. So it has an unbound state. I'm curious whether it's gonna be like Monster Hunter's katana or if it's gonna be something more akin to like the dual blades where it's like a meter you build up and then you can like enter a mode and burn the meter, or if it's gonna be something like as you hit the monster, you generate some sort of charge and then you enter the state or release the attack like an attack, but it does say unbound state, so I'm going to assume like you build up a meter and then you either choose to activate or auto activates. High power but vulnerable heavy attacks, that makes sense. So this it's probably going to be something similar in vein. I'm hoping not in animation wise, but something probably similar to the long blades in Monster Hunter, where like for world's perspective, like if you hit the R2 button, you do wide swinging slashes, and then you can do like a super like cut swing. I can never remember what it's called, like spirit thrust and spirit slash, I think is what they are, but it's probably something in like functionality, something like that. And of course, the katana is a fast light attacking weapon.
With fast light attacks, high powered but vulnerable heavy attacks, unbound state enhances all attacks. I mean, the last part or background of these weapons so far have me extremely excited because it leads to a unique playstyle with these weapons. The unbound state
Yes.
enhances all attacks. That just sounds like a really good reason or why you would want to use the katana in particular because you can take advantage of that. So I think that's a really cool thing right there. Let's go
I
ahead
mean,
and
the
take a
fact that
look
they're
at the
giving all the
last one that they
weapons
have here,
something is
where they
very
have
good.
the bladed Wagasa, and hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yes, this is interesting, and I really want to try it. Very fast light attacks. We saw that it was constantly hitting, but it didn't really look like it was doing much damage. Heavy attacks can chain into airborne moves. We saw that as well, and I forget what the exact move it was, but he hit the monster and then jumped up into the air and then continued to attack the monster. So this weapon seems to be more akin to the insect glaive than those claws were in this fashion, where it seems like when you hit the monster with the heavy attacks, or maybe even without hitting them, you can propel yourself into the air and then do more damage. It's probably a good way of dodging attacks and probably a decent way of getting to parts of the monster that you can't, to the kimono that you couldn't before. What I'm most interested in, though, is excels at deflecting kimono attacks. What that means to me is I'm curious if it's gonna be more in the vein of, like, guard points in Monster Hunter with, like, the lance and the gun lance, or if we're talking more along the lines of, like, the sword and shield, which kind of functions the same, but it's less forgiving. I'm curious where this is going to fall into play and whether or not you're gonna need, like, armor or something, some other stats to be able to utilize this to its full effect. But I feel like that could be a very fun mechanic if used correctly.
Probably not, but it it is what it is. Very fast, light attacks. Heavy attacks can chain into airborne moves. Excels at deflecting kimono attacks. That's really cool, right? In of itself, being able to deflect their attacks. So you have the bladed Wagasa right there. Now they do have descriptions for a few additional ones here on their official
Ooh.
Twitter page. So they have the Maul, the heftiest of the bunch. The Maul offers incredible power and diverse combos. You can build up power for a deadly blow or use lighter attacks for maximum mobility. So you're going to have different.
So lighter blows for maximum mobility. I'm guessing that means that the lighter blows are probably faster so you can move around. That or the lighter blows somehow move you, which would be an interesting concept. Heavier attacks do to build up for a massive amount of damage. So it's I'm well, we actually saw it right here in a second, but it seems like it's almost like a bracky weapon where like you build up, build up, build up, and then boom, an explosion prog. This looks like it's something similar, which is interesting. That's one of my favorite things about hammers in Monster Hunter games were the KO mechanics and how satisfying it felt when you hit a monster that was about to hit you and they fall to the ground. So having a hammer with just big numbers could be very fun.
Different ways to use the Maul, and depending on how you
Yeah.
want to utilize it will
Yeah.
determine if you're going to be doing heavy, strong attacks or if you're going to be a little more agile and mobile with it. And just having the ability to, you know, utilize either or, take advantage of either or is pretty cool in my opinion. Now they do have the bow here. This long-range weapon requires great finesse and offers great maneuverability, and under the right circumstances, the bow can inflict tremendous damage. That's good to hear, right? Oh,
Well, we have already seen that when he hit the pig on the back, it did 211 damage, and then it procced something that I'm assuming he set up beforehand, some sort of like sticky grenades or some sort of arrows that do effects when they're stuck inside the body. He hit that, did 211, and when the other things on its body exploded, you got like I think it was like two or three 86s and then like a 20 something. I think we saw. We'll see it probably here again here in a second, but so we can see it does do a tremendous amount of damage. I'm assuming that it's kind of in the same vein as the Monster Hunter bow, where if you build for it, it does a stupid amount of absolutely just stupid amount of damage. The fact that it's high maneuverability, though, that interests me because that is not like Monster Hunter at all. The bow can be used to maneuver, but it is not a high maneuverability. At least I wouldn't call it high maneuverability. High maneuverability to me is like the insect glaive.
always good for my bow users who main bows in any game to be able to do a good amount of damage, or in their words, tremendous damage. That's nice to see. Probably if you hit a weak point on a
Two or three
kimono,
83s and a
you
32.
can really do some terrific damage there. So that is the bow, and then they have the Karakuri staff. This medium weight weapon can mutate into 5 different forms: the long staff, twin fang, war pike, giant shuriken, and juggernaut blade. Right there in of itself should have.
Okay. So the karakuri staff is literally just like a karakuri. It just has it has basically a build feature for itself where it just turns into different types of weapons. That is really freaking cool. That is really freaking cool. I can already tell I'm not going to use it though because I don't like charge blade, and I'm not a big Swax player, although I can use Swax. I can already guess if it has any type of meter or system like that for for its shifting, it's just going to be too complicated for me. I'd rather just use a hammer. But I will say I'm partially interested in it just because of the fact that it can turn into a giant shuriken. The fact that it can turn into a giant shuriken just amuses me. I really want to see that.
Have you excited or drawn to the Karakuri staff? The fact that it can morph into 5 other different weapons, and just depending on which kimono you're taking on will maybe determine which one you use, or maybe you use 2 out of the 5, 3 out of the 5, who knows, or all 5 in one hunt. That's just really cool, right? And this is
It is
something that
very
I'm
cool.
looking forward to, is just picking out the weapon and feeling out them all and seeing which one
Oh,
best fits my playstyle. Now, we have Miss 5000 Watts here, who actually provided this gameplay, which I probably had going on in the background of this here. And they did go on to state, because this is one thing that I know a lot of players may be concerned about, and one that I was a little concerned about as well, and that's the impact of these weapons. Do they feel impactful? Do they feel strong?
yes.
Do you feel like you're actually taking on
That
a
is what's
massive
very
beast in
important.
a kimono, and when you hit them, does it feel like you're really actually hitting them? And go on and
It looks like it
confirm
does.
right here. The weapons feel very great, very punchy, very real, and when you break parts, it makes you feel alive. That is so reassuring right there. Unfortunately, I never had hands-on experience with this game just yet, so unfortunately, I don't know how it feels. That's why I was a little hesitant on it. But with that confirmation, it's very reassuring to know that when you do fight with these weapons, they feel impactful, right? They feel strong
That
and
finishing
like you're
screen.
actually going up against a massive beast in a kimono. So those are the weapons. Now, I think the only one that didn't have a bit of a background or brief description
Cannon.
on it is the cannon and the claw blade. So we don't know much about these weapons.
I don't know if he's going to go into anything, but I'll add my understanding of them because I saw them in a reaction video, in a video that I reacted to and uploaded on my channel. From what I can tell, the cannon seems to be a it's similar to a bowgun, but the main thing that I was seeing was like could put down this field on the ground, and when you stood in it, you like charged up you were like charging up like your ammo is what I thought it was, but it was actually some sort of like super shot. And it looks like that there were like you could burn this meter to do different types of super shots. That might be their version of different types of ammo, or that might just be like the mechanics of the cannon. But it does look like it's a high DPS, like it looks like it's a high damage but low maneuverability, if not nearly immobile weapon type, similar to kind of like the heavy bow gun or wyvern piercer builds for the bow in Monster Hunter. The biggest thing that I saw though that made me interested in it is it just looked like it was very impactful and looked like there was always something to do, even when you weren't DPSing the monster. The claw blades, from the little bit I've seen of them, they kind of like I had mentioned, Monster Hunter's Insect Glaive. But the first thing that comes to my mind when I see them is Minato from Naruto. Because at one point you see him like kind of like throw the dagger, it looked like, and then go to it, like kind of like dash to it midair. So I'm very, very interested in what that playstyle is. But besides it being very agile and not looking like it does a lot of damage, but it being extremely high mobility, I can't really say much.
Weapons. Now, there are obviously gameplay of both the cannon, especially against the Golden Tempest. You see that pretty extensively. And then the Claw Blade, I think you see it briefly. I'm not too sure if there's any extended gameplay on that in particular. But those are the only two that don't have a brief description on the website here or on their official Twitter page. So that's a
Probably
bit
because they're the most
unfortunate,
unique.
and I'm not sure why, to be quite honest with you. I wish they did, so we can get a little more background on it, but that's okay. Maybe as we get closer to the official release, we'll get more information on those two in particular. And then unfortunately, like I mentioned earlier in this video, they don't have any information about the armor. So we have to wait. It says come back at launch to discover more about the armor. So we're going to have to wait till launch. So they're keeping that under wraps.
I'm very concerned about armor simply because when I play Monster Hunter games, one of my favorite things to do is transmog and character customization. I love having male characters and female characters, looking at the tiny differences between armors to even the vast differences when you look at something like Kuvala Taroth in Monster Hunter World, where you have like a tuxedo and top hat versus like this like scale dress. Like, I love seeing the differences between male and female characters. I love seeing the, like, somebody running around with like a giant bone great sword, but they're wearing like attire that makes you think that they're about to go to some electro music festival, some like high electronic music or some crap. It's like I love seeing those like kind of juxtapositions. I love seeing the like vast variety of those types of styles, and I'm really hoping that Wild Hearts doesn't screw the pooch and do what a lot of other monster hunting games like this do, where they just keep to an aesthetic, like they keep to like a Western aesthetic, or they keep to a Japanese aesthetic, or they keep to like a specifically like an era. Like, no, don't. Like when you play like a monster hunting game like this, a large chunk of people, from what I've seen at least, from the player base, they don't really like, especially in Monster Hunter World, they don't really care about the how like different the outfits look. They don't care that like, oh, we're in a cold place, I should be kind of bundled up. No, people like wearing whatever the fuck looks good. So I'm really hoping that we see like a large variety of outfits, and it's not just like big metal armor or bony armor. Like I'd like to see more than just armor.
For the armor, which is fine. You know, I do appreciate the secrets, and I do appreciate them not revealing
That thing
everything,
looks
because
so
then
sick.
there is some surprise and some secrets and some things to figure out yourself on launch. They don't have to tell you
But you see,
everything,
like a
right?
lot of these
But
are just
anyways,
like
guys,
fuzzy
just
coats
a
and
quick
hide
video on the
materials.
weapons that
I'm
they
really
released.
hoping that
Wanted to
that's
go
not
ahead and talk about it.
everything.
I believe in my next video, I'm gonna go ahead
Like
and
I like
talk
that that
about
was a
Katakuri
kimono.
and go more in depth
I
about
think it
that
was a
as well.
kimono
So
at
if you're
least.
excited about that, you're excited about Wild Hearts and the official release, go ahead and hit that like button. Just helps out the channel tremendously.
I will. This was pretty good. This is a pretty good video, so I will hit the like button. And obviously, as always, there will be a link in the description. Currently, I don't know if they're actually links or if you have to copy and paste them into the URL, but whichever way, I'll have the video linked. Besides that though, before we end this reaction, I just wanted to talk about this for a second. I'm hoping that not every outfit is this. Like I like this. I like this design a lot. But I'm hoping that not every outfit is this style where it's like fur coat, like fur skirt, fur or like leather wrappings down there. Like I'm hoping that we're gonna get like, oh, here's some big metal armor. And then there's like, here's a dress, or here's a suit, or here's some like sweatpants and a t-shirt. Like I love when you just get like the whole 9 yards, just everything.
Channel tremendously, and thank you guys for all the support. I'll see you all in the next one. Remember to stand out, be different, have fun, go further beyond in everything that you do. My name is Cody. You call me further. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.
Yeah, I will say it does look like that they are doing that in a way, but there is some slight concerns where I feel like they're all in the same aesthetic, but we'll see. But anyways, this is Serpent Stinger signing off for the night. Bye. Or the video in this case.